Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Let's go to the main event. Heavyweight main event. This is a massive fight. I think a lot of people are just putting this like to the side. I love the matchup. Sergei Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes. Pavlovich, 30 years old, 6'3" southpaw, 17-1 record, 5-1 in the UFC, 5-fight win streak, all first round knockouts. Wins over Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Maurice Green, 82% finishing rate, 14 knockouts, no submissions, around a 4-month turnaround, and he is the underdog in this matchup. Curtis Blaydes on the flip side, 32 years old, 6'4" orthodox fighter, 17-3 record, 12-3 in the UFC with 1 no contest, 3-fight win streak. Recent wins over Alexander Volkov, Chris Daukaus, and Jairzinho Rosenstrike. 71% finishing rate, 11 KOs, 1 sub, 9 months between fights for him. Mike, this is a crazy matchup, man. What do you see?
Yeah, heavyweight banger. If Curtis Blaydes doesn't change levels, right? But he may change levels and may eat another uppercut like we saw against Derek Lewis and flatlined him. And oh my gosh, you go back to the groans that Curtis Blaydes was making inside of the octagon, and I remember Derek Lewis pleading with I think it was Herb Dean at the time for blame Herb Dean. He should have stepped in. That was brutal. But that was over 2 years ago, right? So this isn't like it was yesterday. You saw Curtis Blaydes. He's only been stopped 3 times in his professional career. He's a fighter who has a massive advantage in the wrestling department versus Pavlovich here, who is a heavy striker, who has a lot of confidence. Sergei Pavlovich is going to look to take Curtis Blaydes' head off while he's still in the fight. Guys, take a look at the fight doesn't go the distance line. It's sitting at minus 1,000. So that means you have to lay $1,000 to win $100 if you're betting that the fight doesn't go the distance. So odds makers, they're putting it out there, and I don't see this one hitting the scorecards. I think that somebody is going to get brutally finished. Who I personally believe that Pavlovich is going to get grounded at some point in the first round and going to get elbows thrown towards his noggin. And I think he'll probably get split open in a similar fashion to what happened to AllStar Overeem. We've seen AllStar Overeem actually have massive success against Sergei Pavlovich. I know this was a number of years ago, but that was a glaring blueprint here. And I have spent literally hours watching fight footage of Sergei Pavlovich, and I haven't seen much from a grappling aspect. The guy has hammers, and that's one thing here also I got to mention is that heavyweight volatility is in play. So could either of these guys land a fight-ending strike? You bet your ass they could. And it could happen very quickly for that matter. So I'm going to be picking Curtis Blaydes. I think that he does get the finish here, and I played him at minus 152. I think that that's a solid line right now, but I also can understand the Pavlovich angle. You have a fighter who has a propensity to, once he does get clipped, he'll hit the canvas. We know Curtis Blaydes, he can get clipped, but I think that he is going to fight to his strengths here, look to take this fight to the mat where there's a massive advantage and also the cardio advantage too for Curtis Blaydes. So he's going to have to overcome this early adversity. I'm talking literally a minute or so of adversity. And then I'm not going to say it's smooth sailing, but you should be having much easier sailing. So I'll be picking Curtis Blaydes, and I think that he gets a TKO victory.
All right, J Spec.
All right, got some thoughts from the fans. John Davis, Blaydes, if he gets clinches without getting dropped, he'll get this. Brianna Frost, Blaydes, respectfully, he just needs to protect his face and not get knocked out, but give a knockout. And James Lucero coming out, yo, gotta go with Sergei. Think he'll crush it. The fans coming in 63% supporting Mr. Pavlovich in this bout. And I'm a little bit surprised. I actually thought that it would be the other way around. I thought Curtis Blaydes would be getting, more of the love here. Yo, I think that people are way too in love with that, like, what was it, 40-second clip of Sergei down on the beach underneath the pier, checking him up, looking him fast as hell. I mean, he looked great. Don't get me wrong. He like shit looked amazing. But dude, that's like a promo video, man. That's literally a designed video to go, hey, look, that dude's in shape and he's pretty fast for a heavyweight. Exactly what we all did. All right. That's propaganda, folks. You know what's not propaganda? If you really look at these guys' records and who they fought and all that, one guy has been fighting the very top of the food chain in the division for a really long time. The other is making his way slowly up the hill. The levels of punching prowess, power, accuracy, and all the other skills that go with it. Curtis Blaydes has fought everybody, dude. He's fought everybody that could possibly knock him out. And only one guy, I think, really has done it, right? Like in recent memory. So, with that being said, the chances of some magic home run happening against Curtis Blaydes is really low. You talk about a guy who can put you down on the ground seemingly at will and even not at will on his second attempt. Like all he really needs to do is try twice as hard as he can, and he's putting your ass on the ground no matter what size you are a human being on the planet. Like that's a skill set that just is not, to me, not a skill set you want to go against, and one that you often do not win against. So Mr. Blaydes is going to win via wrestling supremacy, and that's my pick.
All right, let's get into some of these comments. MMA Jesus says Sergei round 1 KO. Dirty Red says Blaydes. He also mentions make the number better on Blaydes so I can load up. Sean V, that blueprint is silly. Overeem followed a perfect game plan against a young newcomer, Pavlovich. Blaydes isn't going to fight that way. You know who's one of Blaydes' closest training partners? Guess who? AllStar Overeem. You know what I mean? Like he's been training with him for a long time. So you guys got to keep your eye on that as well. Blaydes will wrestle off top. Sean V says Pavlovich is incredible technical boxing. I agree with you. He does have, and he has that killer instinct as well. Blaydes won't wrestle at first. Questionable IQ. Sergei, at least 5 wins are in the first round. All of his 14 finishes are in the first round. 14 knockouts. First round knockouts.
Nuts.
That's nuts, man. Like that's insane killer instinct. Even if he don't, his hands will be okay. Blaydes, chin gone. Those are some, great comments by the people watching. Keep them coming. Man, Pavlovich, he has 5 straight first round knockouts. All of his wins are by first round knockout. And my question to that is he even training cardio? Is he even doing cardio in his camps? Is he just doing striking the whole time? You know what I mean? Like those are like legit questions. You know what I mean? Because fighters, this is something that happens to fighters. I talk to fighters all the time. They kind of reveals things, in those interviews about like the fighter mentality. And sometimes fighters, they get complacent, with their training. And some of these fighters, they run their own camps. They don't even have head coaches, right? And if they do have a head coach, maybe they're butting heads, who knows? But there's a lot of questions. One thing about Blaydes, he has a head coach. He has a team. He has teammates that are all, pretty much almost all of them are signed to the UFC. And they're always in camp. They're always helping each other out, And I think what Blaydes does is that Blaydes goes in there and he's just as big or if not bigger than Pavlovich. And the physicality is not going to be a problem. He might even have the speed advantage over Pavlovich. I know Pavlovich got death in his hands and he has better boxing. But when they get in there tight, I think Blaydes is going to be able to, tie him up and take him down. I don't think he's going to finish him in the first round. I think he gets him down. He beats him up for a while, maybe even cuts him. You know what I mean? It's going to be a dominant round on the ground because remember what Blaydes did to Overeem with the elbows and knocked him out? I could see that happening, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. And it gets to the second round and see how Pavlovich responds to that. And he takes him down again and he beats him up in the second round and finishes him in the second round. So I'm going to take Blaydes, knockout, second round. I don't think this fight lasts very long. A lot of people think first round, and I can see people going with first round knockout for Pavlovich, because why? That's what's been happening in history, and we know that in fighting you got to look at the most recent fights, and it is what it is. I love it. I love that this fight is just the toss up. You know what I mean? Because once the bell rings for first round, ting, anything could happen, and that's what's great about this matchup. And if Pavlovich wins, man, imagine him fighting for the title with 6 straight first round knockouts.